Welcome new freshmen and transfer students. Welcome new Wildcats. We were waiting because the room is still filling up, and we'll go ahead and get a start. So we're going to cover a number of issues today. I'll introduce myself in just a moment. So we want you to be ready for the first day of classes. So we're going to cover material that will help you get ready. We also want to bust some college myths because we think that will also help you. Before I do introductions, let's talk a little bit about what a Zoom webinar is. So this, the reason you didn't hear anybody talking and the reason you can't see everybody is that this is a webinar. It's more like a presentation than a meeting. And so only the presenters can share their cameras, microphones, and screens. Now, one question I had, because this is my first webinar that I've actually been a panelist on. I wondered if everybody, all the panelists could see me in the other webinars, and it turns out, unfortunately, I can't see your lovely faces. You can see us, but we can't see you. We can communicate. So you can use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. You click on the Q&A, you type your question, and we have moderators who will answer your question privately. We'll protect your identity when you ask a question, and the identities of the attendees is also private. We're also going to have live polling today. So we'll ask questions, we'll launch polls, and what we want you to do is answer the polls. And then we'll give you all the answers. Okay, so let's get started. I'm Rebecca Gomez. I'm the Interim Associate Dean of Student Academic Success in the College of Science. I'm also a professor in psychology, and I study how infants and young children learn. I'm particularly interested in how sleep helps learning, and so I'm going to give you some tips on sleep that will help you be successful students. You're also going to hear from John Pollard. We'll tell you more about him when we get to that point, but he's the Associate Dean of Academic Affairs in the Honors College. You'll also hear from Dr. Lisa Elfring, who's the Associate Vice Provost of the Office of Instruction and Assessment. You'll hear from Robin Rarick, who heads up our advising team here in the college. You'll hear from Colin Stout, who heads up our research efforts for undergraduates. You'll also hear from one of our ambassadors, another undergraduate. This is Caroline Highland, and you'll hear from Erin Deely, who's our Director of Recruitment and Engagement. So let's go on. Let me tell you a little bit about the college. So we are made up of 15 different departments in the College of Science. We have 912 graduate students. 46% of our graduate students are female. 20% of our undergraduate students are underrepresented in STEM. We have just over 7,000 undergraduates, and of new freshmen and transfer students, we have almost 2,000 new freshmen and just over 500 transfer students. So there's a big group, and we have 728 of you here in this webinar. 22% of our undergraduates in the college are in the Honors College. 54% of our undergraduates are female, so we have even more women than we have men among our undergraduates. 32% of our undergraduates are first-generation college students, and 46% of our students are underrepresented in STEM. And we're excited to have all of you. Let me tell you a little bit about our research. I'm just listing a few things about us. We were the first university to control a space mission from our campus. We were the first department of ecology and evolutionary biology, and we created the science of tree ring research here. And when it comes to outreach, we have one of the largest STEM-related events in Arizona. This is Science City in the Tucson Books. It's unlikely that we'll have the Festival of Books this year because it's an in-person event. It takes place on the mall in the university, but we look forward to having it next year. Okay, let's start our first live poll. And I think we're waiting for the answer.
Yes, I'm still waiting. Okay, it looks like it's slowed down, so I'm going to go ahead and close the poll, and we'll talk about what y'all answered.
So I think that obviously you can see that 33% of you are concerned about being stressed and overwhelmed. We're going to talk about some tips that will help you diminish your stress and diminish feeling overwhelmed. And the second highest concern is falling behind in classes, and we've got some tips to address that concern as well. I can understand that many of you are concerned about making friends and building community. We are planning a welcome event in a few weeks for the college where we will provide opportunities for you to meet with some of your professors. We'll provide opportunities for you to meet other students in the college, and we'll provide opportunities for you to find out about clubs. So we are hoping to help address your concerns. And please stay in touch with us about those. Okay, it's time to start busting some myths. So first myth, you can stay up overnight to write a paper or cram for an exam and still do your best work. Well, I'm here to tell you that, in fact, sleep is very important, not only for maintaining your health, but it's also important for learning. So there's amazing work, and some of that's even being done here at the University of Arizona. There's work actually showing that when we sleep, we replay our memories. And so some of this work is done with animals. Some of it is actually now done with humans, because of humans who have to have brain surgery. We can actually record their neurons as they fire in the brain. And so we can see neurons firing when people and animals are learning, and we can see when they're sleeping that those same neurons are firing. And so there's a tremendous amount of evidence now showing that we consolidate our memories during sleep. Also during sleep, we form connections between prior knowledge and new knowledge. Another thing is that you can't learn well when you're not rested. And so I know that many of you cram for exams. Believe me, I did it too when I was a student. But since I was a student, I started studying sleep. And I can tell you the evidence is overwhelming. You'll do much better if you commit to sleeping 8 hours a night, which is what you need to be doing at this age. You'll be rested for going into your classes and learning the most, and you'll also consolidate that information. It takes a number of nights of sleep to actually consolidate new information so you can use it the most effectively. We'll talk about other tips later in the presentation. So I'd now like to introduce Dr. Lisa Elfring. I said a bit about her before. I mentioned that she's the Associate Vice Provost in the Office of Instruction and Assessment, but she's also an Associate Professor in Molecular and Cellular Biology. Take it away, Lisa.
Thanks, Rebecca. I just want to say welcome to all of you. It is so exciting to have students come and join us at the beginning of every school year. And even though it's a little bit strange this year, the way that we're all getting together, we just can't tell you how excited we are to have you here. So we are going to now do a second poll. So here's the question, and it's sort of a tricky question. You can answer as well as you can. How would you describe the classes that you're taking this fall in terms of the modalities in which they're being taught? Mostly online, mostly in person, a mix of in-person and online, and not sure. So we'll go ahead and open that up for you, and we'll leave it open until the speed at which people are responding sort of starts to slow down, and then we will close it out and look at the results. All right, Looks like we're about to see some results. And so you should be able to see a window with the results also. And it looks like about 3/4 of you have classes that are mostly online. About 20% of you have a mix of in-person and online. And then there is a very small minority who either have classes mostly in person or aren't sure. So that's a really interesting, and I think everyone knows that this is not a typical school year for us. So why don't we go ahead and talk a little bit about those course modalities and see if we can sort of help to explain some of them. So for this fall, classes will be offered in 4 different modalities. And those go from, on one end, in-person classes that are taught in person. Even in-person classes will look different this semester because people will need to be in classrooms with masks and separated, physically separated from one another. So it won't be exactly the same experience you would have in any fall. On the other end of that extreme, over on the right, are completely online courses, and the University of Arizona has for many years offered some completely online courses. But in the middle are 2 new course formats for this fall to try to meet the challenges that COVID is presenting us with. The first one is Flex in Person. And Flex in-person classes are classes that will have some in-person meetings, typically at least 1 in-person meeting per week. But the flex part means that maybe all students won't be meeting at the same time. Maybe you'll only be meeting with a half or a third of the other students who are in your class. And so for the other class meetings, you might participate by Zoom, or you might be doing activities that are asynchronous, so things that you're doing on your own time. And that will vary instructor by instructor and class by class. So it's important to access your courses in D2L to sort of figure out what the strategy is for each of those classes. The third modality, live online, are classes that meet at the scheduled time, but they're meeting like we're meeting now through Zoom, not through a webinar format though. So it'll be a Zoom meeting where you can see the faces of all of the students who are participating. So those are the 4 course modalities. Now, because we had a spike in infections of COVID-19 over the summer, what we're going to be doing at the very beginning of the semester is that most classes are going to begin in live online mode, even if the hope is that eventually they'll be taught in person. So most of the classes will begin in live online mode, and then depending on what the public health considerations are for all of our, for the Tucson community and the broader state of Arizona, we will have checkpoints where we will transition to having, at first, small classes meeting in person if they were actually scheduled to meet in person. And if conditions continue to improve, then larger and larger classes will begin meeting in person. And those communications will come out to you and to your instructors as we go. But we can't say right now that any particular transition is going to happen on a particular date because it's very fluid with the public health situation. All right, and so let's talk about another myth about college. The myth that you can wing it, not do much preparation, and just show up and be okay. And I think the reality is that many of us do this in many sort of aspects of our life. And sometimes we get lucky and that's just fine. But what we think you will find based on what we have heard from college students in previous years is that as the semester goes on, as the responsibilities that you have for each of your courses starts to grow and expand, it can quickly get out of control. And so really the best approach is to get organized now. That picture is a picture of the backpack for somebody who is planning a backpacking expedition. They don't know what they're going to face. And so the most important thing for them to do is to lay out everything that they have that they're going to carry and try to plan for all of the eventualities that they might encounter. Go ahead and advance us, Robin. So some tips for getting prepared. First of all, using a planner, and a planner can be electronic or paper, but have some sort of a structure where all of your course meetings, assignments, exams, and projects are in the same document. You can find that information in your course syllabus. We'll talk about the course syllabus in a minute. So that you can know what all of the expectations are for all of your classes and you have everything organized. I am a big fan of the paper planner and color coding, but I also now keep an electronic calendar. So it might be that you want to do both. A challenge for this semester is that when courses are taught in different modalities, they kind of sometimes require different strategies. And so that means that you get the opportunity to practice, and you'll just need to adapt to those different modalities as we move through the semester. One of the most important things that you can do is have easy access to the information, the contact information for your academic advisor. Always, every semester, your academic advisor is the most important contact that you have at the University of Arizona. They are the person who is the most liable to be able to find answers to questions that you encounter. And so locate their drop-in advising hours. What is the Zoom link that they use for meetings, because we're not meeting in person this semester, and put that contact information somewhere where you can get to it readily so that you have it whenever you need it. Another thing that's important is to know the deadlines for dropping a course, for adding a course with a withdrawal. There are lots of checkpoints throughout the semester that are important to keep in mind. And again, your advisor can help you to think about those things, but that might be another, these deadlines, which are on the university's main calendar page, might be additional things that you would want to put into your planner. And finally, and I've been bitten by this recently, even though I should certainly know by now, back up all of your electronic work regularly. Almost all the work that you're going to be doing this semester is electronic, and disasters can happen at any time. And so it's really, really important to keep everything backed up. Cloud storage is making that easier as time goes on. All right, go ahead. Thanks. So we're going to talk about the class syllabus too. And a syllabus is a statement of intent and an implicit agreement between the instructor and the students. It sort of says what the students are expected to do, but also what are the policies that will govern the instructor for a particular course. And I know most of you have had course syllabi in the courses that you have taken in high school. And so the college syllabus is probably pretty similar to that. Go ahead and advance us if you would. So the syllabus that you'll get for University of Arizona courses will include things like the instructor's name, their contact information, their office hours. Office hours are something that you can think of it as drop-in time. That's time that your instructor has set aside to meet with students. This semester, it's fair to assume that most office hours will happen again by Zoom. So the information for the instructor's Zoom office hours will also be in the course syllabus. Also in the syllabus are a list of how you are going to be assessed in the class, what are going to be the required exams, papers, quizzes, assignments, projects, a lot of how the work that you'll do in the course will be assigned, where you'll be turning it in, and what those dates are. Other important information, absence policies. So is it okay to miss a class? What should you do if you miss a class? University policies. There are a lot of university policies that govern the classes that sort of lay out what the university expects for us when we're teaching classes. There is information in the syllabus about the Disability Resource Center, and that's something that may be unfamiliar to many of you. So the Disability Resource Center is the place where you can go if you believe that you have a condition that inhibits your ability to learn effectively. The Disability Resource Center is the central resource on campus for coordinating any accommodations. So if, for example, you have a situation where you believe that you need more than the allotted time for an exam, if you go to your instructor and say, I would really like to have more time for an exam than you would normally give for students, the instructor will say, that's great. Go talk to the Disability Resource Center. And the Disability Resource Center has the ability to make evaluations, and then they will handle the accommodations. So they will communicate back to the instructor that whether or not you have, you actually meet the requirements for that kind of an accommodation or many other kinds of accommodations. So instructors and the Disability Resource Center work really, really closely together. And you have to register for them if you want to use their services. So they are really an important resource on our campus. Another thing that's in the syllabus, and this is actually the most important thing for me in terms of teaching, is talking about what the instructor expects you to learn and what the program expects you to learn in the course. It's really important that we be very explicit with you about what you're going to be doing and what skills and knowledge you'll be taking away from you from our courses. So all of that and a whole lot more is in the course syllabus. It's really an important document to have access to. You'll find it in your course D2L site, and it's important to take a look at it and read through just to familiarize yourself with the operations for any course. All right, so some pro tips, again, in the vein of keeping organized and course syllabi. It's really great to compile all of the information from your course syllabus and from all of the course syllabi that you have for all of your courses into that master calendar. Your advisors will email you probably next week with a tool called a semester on a page. I found out last year that that is actually called SOAP, semester on a page. It's an acronym. And that semester on a page document is a calendar of the whole semester with all of the university dates and deadlines on it. So that's an important resource, and a lot of the students that I worked with last year found it really helpful to print that out and to actually keep a printed out copy of that near their work area. All right, so email. Email is another difference potentially from what you have been used to. The University of Arizona uses email as a primary means of communication, both anything that is coming from any university personnel to you as a student, and especially from your instructors. And we know that this is not your preferred mode of communication among your friends and your colleagues in your friend group, but the University of Arizona uses email. So it's really, really important to keep in mind that email is something that you have to check regularly. Go ahead, Robin. All right, so again, some pro tips. First of all, many of us, when we are teaching, and many of your advisors, are not going to necessarily recognize your U of A net ID, the information that's in the from line on your email. So it's important when you're emailing folks at the university to include your full name and your student ID number when you identify yourself. Now, speaking as an instructor now, I'm not an advisor, I'm an instructor. I don't actually look at the student ID number, but it's really important to say what your full name is and that you're in whichever class I'm teaching, because sometimes I'm teaching 4 or 5 different classes at a time. So help me to figure out why we're having this email conversation. It's always a good idea to be a little bit formal and, of course, courteous in your email communications. So, for example, say, "Dear Dr. So-and-so," rather than, "Hey, what's up, Lisa?" It's just a mark of respect and generally good practice to do that. Respectful emails will get you one step closer to what you need. Sometimes when I have an email that something has happened, I'm worried, I'm upset, and I type out an email that maybe is a little bit more emotional than I would actually want to send. So think about how it is to be on the receiving end of that kind of an email. Nobody likes to get a howler. So maybe type out your email, wait a few minutes, and have somebody else help you read through it to make sure the tone is right before you send it. And finally, check your email daily, including your spam box, because sometimes emails that are sent to a large number of people will get will get filtered out and sent to your spam box. So a good way to avoid that is to add your instructors and advisors to your address book so that emails from them will always come through your spam filter. All right. I am now going to hand this off to my colleague, Dr. John Pollard. Like many of us, he has several titles at the university. He's the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs at the Honors College, and he's a professor of practice in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. And some of you may be lucky enough to have him as your intro chemistry teacher. So take it away, John.
Thank you, Lisa. Welcome to everybody again. It's really fantastic to have so many people here. I just want to amplify what Lisa said. I'm really excited for the semester, and we're really excited to get this sort of unprecedented semester started. I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment, but I want to start off by building on the myths that were just discussed. And in particular, I want to talk about a little bit about studying and learning. And what I'm going to reference here is really related to the science of learning. So one of the myths that a lot of times students will come into the university is that your instructor is going to sort of make sure you understand everything. And I'm not even sure what that means. But really, this is a myth. And the truth of the matter is, Robin, that it's really your responsibility to engage in the content for your classes. You are the owner of your own learning. And I think really stating that first to yourself, that you are responsible for your own learning, is a really good starting point. That personal ownership is really going to help you out and as you approach your classes, as you approach your studying. So some pro tips about being an advocate for your own learning. Make sure you spend some time this weekend in D2L. Be familiar with this tool and make sure you know how to navigate around it. Look at all your classes in D2L. Find, of course, where the syllabi are. Find out where maybe notes are posted, where quizzes might be hosted, things like that. Also, and this second one is really important, attend all your classes regardless of format. This is challenging, I know, because a lot of your class formats will be live online, and you may even have those classes recorded. So this may give you a temptation to go, well, I can miss it because I'll just go watch the recording, right? Well, I know I can speak for myself and many of my colleagues in the College of Science that coming to class is an essential and engaged part of your learning. I tell my students, I know other faculty say the same thing, if you come to my class, which is a 50-minute class, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and give me that 50 minutes, I'm going to, and my colleagues are going to bring R into the deal. Your learning experience is going to be engaged. This is not going to be just, your classes in general will not be this sort of one-directional modality, but rather you'll be asked to participate and engage in various ways. And so really try to attend your classes. And the other thing about this is important is, I think especially in these times where we're doing a lot of things online and remotely, it's important to keep a schedule. We all know that keeping a schedule helps keep our rhythm together. I think Dr. Gomez talked about the importance of sleep. I think that keeping a regular sleep pattern along with a regular daily schedule is a really helpful way to keep your well-being up and to keep your mental and physical health at its best, because we know that healthy mind and healthy body work together. So attend your classes for sure. Reach out with all questions in the moment. This is one of the things I often see with students who come from high school. They let their egos get in the way of seeking help. You have got to let that go. Everybody here, your professors, your advisors, your teaching assistants, course preceptors, are here to help you. We want you to succeed. But again, we cannot help you unless you come to us with the desire to be helped. That is really critical. I know I can speak for all my colleagues and myself that we really appreciate when students come to us and say, I don't understand this, I'm struggling, I would like some help. What can I do to improve, to be better? Taking ownership over their learning. So ask for help. It's a sign of strength. Make sure you understand your exam schedules, in particular the scheduling of assessments throughout this semester. This is a weird semester, obviously. I'm stating the obvious here. But in particular, you're going to have online quizzes, online homework. You might have 2 or 3 different homework systems. You're going to have exam schedules. You're going to have maybe lab report due dates. You've got to get organized. A lot of times students struggle and fall behind because they're not organized and they don't know what's coming next and they get caught on their heels. So make sure you get organized. Know what when you have exams. You might have a common exam time where everybody in a class, regardless of sections, takes the exam at the same time. Another thing too, I'm going to tell you, it was exactly like this when I was in college. I remember saying to my friends, why are all my exams and papers due the same week? What's up with that? Well, there tends to be a natural rhythm in academics where courses kind of flow together a little bit. That's just how it goes. So you've got to be ready for these surge weeks that you're going to have. And make sure that you identify when those are going to happen and approach those in an organized way. Also, just so you know, I know a lot of you in high school may have had opportunities to retake tests or ask for extra credit opportunities, things like that. That's just not how it goes in general at the university level. You're not going to be able to retake tests the way you might have in high school. You're not going to be able to go to your professor and say, hey, can I do some extra work for extra credit? I wouldn't even try that. I tell my students, that's just not how the culture is in terms of assessment at the university. So just keep that in mind. Of course, if you have questions about that, you can definitely go to your professor or to your class TAs. They can help you with some of those questions. You know, I know a lot of you have heard about this term growth mindset, and I know that this is sort of preached at you quite a bit, but I really think it's important. And I think the one way to view it is like this. If you really think about it, you actually can't have the concept of success without failure, because success doesn't mean anything unless there's struggle or challenge or what we call failure. These two ideas are opposite sides of the same thing. So it's important to embrace both. Of course, you want to be successful, and you are going to have successes, but you are also going to have struggles and challenges. But you wouldn't know the success without that. So you've got to find a way to lean into your struggles as well. I know that I can say I've taught over 15,000 students here at the University of Arizona in my 20 years of teaching. The students I have seen that go on to succeed are not the ones who get 4.0s. Oh, you know, obviously it's great if you get all A's. That's fantastic, but that's not the determiner. The determiner tends to be how they deal with challenges and struggles. The characteristic of being able to move through that is really important. And of course, work with integrity. Own your grades. own your performances. If you struggle on a test, own it. Own it. Say, that's my B, that's my C. Okay, now I'm going to look to improve. I think this is a really important time for you to own your performances and know that, that if you do that, that affords you the ability to sincerely improve. Okay, next slide, please. All right, we're going to do a poll here. Now, I want you to think, what is your most common go-to study learning strategy? What did you do in high school? Let's go ahead and throw the poll up, and we'll see what your answer is. We'll give you a little bit of time here. Robin, I think the poll was put up. Okay, we're waiting now. You've got, oh, this is one of those really annoying multiple choice A through G. You know, those are the worst on exams, right? A through X. Okay, go ahead, see what you select here. We're waiting for the results. Do you reread, self-quizzing, highlighting? Let's see, okay. So it looks like read and reread text and notes, okay? We've got a lot of people doing quizzing yourselves using flashcards. That's fantastic. Highlighting would be one, along with studying one subject or topic at a time. That's great. I didn't see a lot of people saying pulling all-nighters. That's good. I think Dr. Gomez would support the fact that you start to lose when you are pulling all-nighters in terms of sacrificing your sleep. Let's go to the next slide. I'd like to kind of build on this poll question by talking a little bit about studying. And so one of the myths as students come into, and I want to just tell you personally, when I was in high school, I'm going to be honest, I didn't really study. I actually don't know what I did in high school, but studying was not one of the things that I did often. And when I came to college, I struggled right out of the gates because I didn't have a modality of studying. It worked, and I had to build it in college, and that was a struggle. So the myth is that you can keep doing what you did in high school. And if you could show the truth here of this, the truth is that in general, you're going to find now that the level of your courses and the depth of understanding is going to be notched up now. So I think it's important to adopt new, more effective learning strategies. Be a self-directed learner. Create your own study and practice structure. Plan to spend 2 hours a week outside of class for each hour spent in class. It's in particular in your challenging courses. The reality is you're going to look at your schedule. You're going to have some courses where you think, okay, this course is really manageable, no problems. But then you're going to have that one course or those two courses where you put an asterisk next to it and you go, okay, this, I'll just say it because I don't know why, this chemistry course is going to be challenging. I might have to spend some extra time on this. Be conscious of that. Expect learning to be effortful. Expect it to be sort of a challenge, but that's what you want. You want to learn, and learning requires an effort. And so expect that. And of course, remember, your brain's like a muscle. You can change it. I always tell students that they'll say to me, oh, I'm not good at this, or I'm not good at that. Well, that is not the way learning is. You might have a self-perception that you're not good at biology or not good at chemistry or whatever, but that doesn't mean you can't improve at that. Everybody can improve at this. So do not quit and hang in there, because improving can happen. Your brain is a muscle. Next slide, please. So I want to just comment on two strategies here that you can think about that are really important, that come from the science of learning. One is called retrieval. And this just shows you some data here of research done in the area of comparing retrieval to other kind of common study practices, like, you know, one intent studying, or repeated studying the same thing, or concept mapping, maybe making diagrammatic representations. Retrieval involves studying material, then having a gap of time where you come back to that material and you re-engage with it, where it's almost that sensation of where you're starting to lose it a little bit, the ideas, but you come back and reinforce them by by studying them again and then putting that gap in between. You know, here's the analogy I always use with this. You know, when we have all these passwords that we need to know, you know, when you go to log into something and it's a password you haven't used for a while, and you go to log in and you go, oh, what's the password? Is it, oh, and then suddenly you remember, I think it's, I am so awesome, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, hashtag, whatever. And you get it and you're like, oh, there it is. The next time now you remember it better because you had to sort of retrieve it, and it helps to wire the neural connections in your brain. Retrieval practice is important. So sort of consistent, regular studying with gaps on content. And to build on that, if you go to the next slide, Robin, is interleaving, because you have multiple courses and multiple topics within courses. One very effective way is to do what's called interleaved studying or interleaved practice. What this means is that you don't just study one thing over and over and over and over and over and over until you got it and then, okay, I got it, I move on, but rather study something for a while, one topic, then create that gap for retrieval by moving to a different topic, then moving to a different topic or class, then come back to it. Now, this data here shows you that if you want to have immediate recall of something, and you just focus on it, focus, you will do better on that one thing. But for retention, and that's the important thing, long-term enduring retention, interleaving will always be better for this. So think about spacing out your studying and manage your time, smaller chunks of time, but more regular is really a powerful way to approach your learning. And this is really supported by the science of learning. Okay, next slide. So it's myth 5, it's all about your classes and your grades. Listen, your classes and grades are very important, okay? But it's important that you get involved beyond the classroom. And this is gonna be a challenge, you know, this semester, because normally you would be able to meet new people, you know, face to face and randomly meet people in your classes and the classrooms, but it's different now, and things are gonna be different this fall. This is our really strange, unprecedented times. And so, but that doesn't mean though that you can't get involved outside of the classroom. Clubs are still happening. Look for opportunities to join clubs. Look for opportunities to make and meet new friends, even in the Zoom environment. If you're on campus, you'll still be around people. Of course, we're all gonna mask up. That's really important. But there's still opportunities for you to build social connections. It may be harder for you to find your sense of community and make new friends. But you know, explore new online communities with your classes through Residence Life, through clubs, engage in activities to learn more about yourself and what you love, and try new things, be uncomfortable. And the last thing I'll say here is remember this. This pandemic will pass. Science is going to bring us a solution to COVID. That's what's important to remember here. But your future will be beyond this pandemic. And so it's not about now, it's about building also for your future. So keep that in mind. And with that, I want to now, I think, hand this over, or am I, next slide? Is it still me, Robin? It is, wait, I'm sorry, go back one. And let me just make one more comment here. This is super important. Got to mask up, I got my mask here. So everyone, get your mask on. You've got to mask up when you're walking around campus. I'm actually on campus right now, but I'm in my office. I'm in a closed office, and according to the protocols, if you're in a closed office, you don't have to wear a mask. Dr. Gomez's mask is the most awesome one I've seen, by far, hands down. The mask has got to cover your nose, mouth, and chin. Have you seen those people out in public and they're wearing the mask like this, you know, just in case the chin gets COVID, you know, the COVID targets the chin. It doesn't work, okay? Or this doesn't work either. It looks nice, it's kind of fashionable, but it just doesn't really, it's not science supported here. It's got to cover the nose and mouth, okay? Wear them indoors, it's required. When you go in a building, you got to wear them. When you're outdoors, really wear them outdoors when you're on campus, unless you're all by yourself and really spaced out. But really, the protocol is when you're on campus, try to wear your mask, required indoors, maintain distance, wash your hands, don't touch your face to your hands, wash your hands, good hygiene, mask up, bear down. And remember that face coverings are not a substitute for physical distancing. Okay, I'd like to now hand this over to Robin Rarick, who's the Senior Director of Advising and Student Services here at in the College of Science, and she's going to talk to you more about campus resources. Robin, take it away.
Thanks, John. Yeah, so once again, I just want to reiterate how excited we are to have you back from orientation. I'm seeing some of the questions coming through the Q&A, and it looks like the questions are great right now. Questions about how do I get my CAT card, and how do I know when my classes are going to open on D2L, and things like that. So we're going to take some time. If we're unable to answer those questions live privately through the Q&A, we'll take some time afterwards and get those questions answered and send those out to everybody along with the link to this video. So we know that a lot of students today are doing their COVID testing and getting moved into dorms and things like that, and we're unable to join us. So we'll make sure that everybody gets a chance to have their question answered and be able to see the video. So you're hearing a lot of these tips, get organized, keep a planner, things like that, and take care of yourselves, get lots of sleep. But sometimes we're uncertain about how do we actually do these things, right? And so I want to point you to some of the campus resources that we have available to you, and just sort of give you sort of the overview. I don't want to go into great depth about this because we have a D2L environment where all of this is housed, links and everything for you. But please know, this is a very large campus, right? We have literally tens of thousands of students that are moving around, that are doing different things. And as a result of being such a large campus, we actually have the advantage of being able to offer you a lot of services. And so they focus in areas of technology, of academic resources, personal to take care of your health and well-being and safety, as well as those that help you develop professionally. So because we're working, a lot of us are working in the online environment, it's going to be important that our technology is up to speed. We have to make sure that we are up and running and being able to get online all the time. And so students have a lot of nice resources available to them. One of those is the 24/7 tech support. So if you do have a computer crash, or you get locked out of a portal or can't get on for some reason, you can contact the 24/7 team and they will help get you up and running. I've had to use this myself from my home on a laptop, and the people there are super responsive and they are really helpful. They can remote in onto your system and do whatever they have to get you back up and running. So there are some different ways that they can work with you and help keep you online. Online security is really important. We have different layers of authentication that you have to go through to make sure that you are safe and secure while working online, that your information is protected. And there is free security software for you to be able to download and be able to use on your personal systems. We also have give you access to free software that is that's used to create content for your courses or even for your own personal use. We are Adobe Creative Campus, and so you have access to the Adobe Creative Cloud, again, to create content, whether it's something that you need for a class or it's something that you're doing for personal use. So make use of that. In terms of academic, we've talked about faculty and staff being able to be here to support you in your endeavors, in your educational endeavors. Make use of those people. Go to the office hours, talk to your instructors, engage with them. You will get so much more by actually talking with them and learning about the different things that you can be doing to be successful, and also ways that you can connect to opportunities that are going to give you a chance to try out new things, learn about what you love to do, and all kinds of things. So it's important that the faculty and staff are viewed as an essential resource to you here on this campus. There are a lot of amazing people that are experts in their fields, and having access to them and being able to take classes with them, it's a pretty special thing. We do have different tutoring services such as the Think Tank, writing skill improvement. These are areas that will focus on those skills and also helping you to bolster your content knowledge. And the university libraries is also a really great resource. We sometimes think of it like, yeah, there's books there, right? But there's a lot more to it. There's all kinds of different research articles and databases for things that you can use as you're writing your papers. And they also have some technology that you can use, say that you need to do a loaner on a computer or something like that. that, you can check out equipment from the libraries, again, to keep you up and running. There are also, within these resources, some different workshops and things that can help you with the study and learning strategies that John and Lisa had mentioned. And also to help you just with organizational skills, stress management in terms of test anxiety and things like that as well. So there's a lot of different little workshops that are built into those resources. In terms of personal, right, it's important that we stay healthy and that we can stay safe here on the campus, and we have to focus on our wellness, both mental and physical wellness, right, in order to be the most effective learner possible. We are interested now in having to deal with financials, right? We're adults now, we have to deal with our financials. We are given a certain amount of money every semester to live on, and we have to figure out how to budget that to make it stretch and make it most effective for covering us for that whole semester. So we do have some resources that are focused just on helping students with budgeting and financial questions. And then obviously part of your personal growth and engagement is about being involved, right? Being involved on campus, being involved with other students, and we have a whole bunch of organizations, over 600 different clubs and organizations, which can help you to connect. I think Erin will talk about that in just a little bit. We are here to take classes to earn our degrees, but we also want to build professional skills that employers are looking for. And so we do have a Center for Career Involvement, Engagement, and they help you with exploration. It's not uncommon to come to college not really knowing what you want to do with your life afterwards, and this can give you the opportunity to explore what you're interested in and kind of what you want your world of work and academic growth, what's that going to lead to later on? What can you do with those things? And so the career exploration is very important. There are different workshops that are happening within the engagement and career development. Things like Life Lab, that's a really great one to start getting involved in. It helps you to really design your search, design your life, kind of like what's that pathway going to look like and what should I be doing to prepare. We allow you to have access to folks who can do some resume screening, workshops on building those and helping you make the best resume so you can sell yourself in the best way possible. And help you with mock interviews, because it can be pretty nerve-wracking if you've never had any practice or experience being interviewed by an individual or by a panel of people. And we're going to get to that point in our career where we're going to have to start articulating our skill sets and how they match up with the type of opportunity that we're applying for. And so these folks will be able to help you to fine-tune your interviewing skills as well, and give you lots of opportunities to try leadership experiences and actually to apply what you're learning to real world situations, right? And that's this experiential learning, which Erin and Colin are going to talk about in just a minute. What I do want to reiterate is we've tried to connect with you about the Arizona Launchpad. It's in D2L. I've heard that some students are struggling to find it. It's listed under the 2020 non-term portion of D2L. So that is where you're going to find the list of links. So all of the comprehensive guide to the resources that we have on campus, as well as the links and how to access them. There's also a new interactive campus resource map, which I started poking around with. I thought that looked really cool. So if you can learn how to use that, it can really help you to see like physically where these things are located and that sort of stuff. Recently, we also have put together, because we are going to be in an online environment and we might not be on campus, but we still need access to some of these resources and services, the Virtual Student Support Services Guide. So please take note of this link. And again, we're going to send the recording out so that you'll be able to reference it, but studentsuccess.arizona.edu/resources. That will help you to understand how and what is available, like what's available and how to access it from kind of our online world that we're living in right now. And again, we're seeing a lot of questions about through the chat and the Q&A about services and being online and how do I know this or that. And so again, we're going to be trying to answer those questions offline for you and be able to respond with the answers to those. So the last point I want to make is that there are a lot of campus resources. We are here to help you. We are here to guide you and point you in the direction of these. It can be a little overwhelming to know what do I need and when do I access it and how do I get there. Academic advisors can help you to connect you to the resources that are going to be most important to you for your particular situation. So reach out to them, let them know the type of barrier that you're encountering, the kind of help that you need, what's not going as well for you as you had planned, and they can help you to to identify correct resources to access and help you to find the words and guide you to how to really communicate with those folks to get the right help that you need. So advisors can help you connect. Lastly, we pay money in our student fees, right? You have tuition that you pay and student fees. The student fees fund a lot of the resources that you're seeing here. And so by virtue of paying those fees, you're actually funding these resources. So you are paying for them already. So make use of them, right? Make use of them and see what you can do to help for them to help you to reach the goals that you have for yourself. So that's all I'm going to say. We will follow up again about how to access all of this because it's really important that you do understand how to make use of the resources. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over now to Aaron Deely and Colin Stout. They are our experts, super nice people and super knowledgeable about student engagement and undergraduate research. So Aaron, ready to take it away?
Thank you, Robin. I really appreciate that. And you can go ahead and pass it to the next slide. And let me welcome everyone. Welcome to the College of Science family. And let me congratulate you on taking the first step before your college career begins. Happy Friday. But you have done, you know, I saw in the poll earlier that there's some concern about getting behind and making connections, making friends and being stressed. We've taken the first step by attending this session. And you can count all of these panelists as contacts, people you now know in the College of Science that are here to support you. And we know that students are attending college in preparation for their careers, whether you decide to go straight into the workforce or you're going into a graduate school program or professional program like medical school. And so we want to recognize that you're not only here for academic preparation, but outside of class. And some of the classes later in your career or in your program will really help develop those professional skills that employers and grad student or grad programs are looking for to make you competitive. And so, you know, you've heard a lot of generalities of how to get involved. We did a poll recently of students, you know, basically the sophomore level, junior level. And we just wanted to know how many of you actually have a resume, you know, prepared. And, you know, 85, 89% of the students said, oh, I have a resume. So everybody understands, right, that that's one professional document that you need to be constantly upgrading and revising. And then we asked, how many of you had 3 professional references that could speak to your professional ability? 13%. Right? So that's the opportunity in college to make these meaningful connections, explore these opportunities to really check out, maybe be in the work environment. There are student jobs, undergraduate research opportunities, internships, the opportunity to travel, right? That really expands our minds and our worldview and how, you know, how we function in different settings. Those are all really important. If you're in the residence hall and getting involved in hall leadership, right? How do you work as a team to represent your students? Those are really important leadership skills. And get involved in those student clubs, make those relationships. That's where the stress is going to be relieved when you feel like you have a community to lean on that is going through something that you're going through, right? And also have the same interests and, you know, doing meaningful work in the community. A lot of those student clubs, right, create community for you, but they also give back to the community, and you learn how to articulate your science in a way that's meaningful and inspire the next generation of students. And of course, going to career fairs and respond to those emails that your departments are sharing with you, right? They're giving you opportunity after opportunity of how do you engage in your content area or other areas that you're interested in. And I just want to give you a couple examples. Building yourself professionally isn't just in your career interest, right? It's being a well-rounded person. And so you may have many interests. College of Science students are curious. You know, sometimes they have a really hard time figuring out what major to hone in on. And fortunately, you can pick up a couple minors, you know, or maybe double major to really complement your interest and career passion. But I've had a chemistry student that also was a walk-on to the synchronized swimming team. And she's in medical school and she continues to pursue that passion. And I had another student who's in math, who's on the jazz band for the U of A jazz band. He has a passion for music. And one of our incoming student science ambassadors, you know, she's basically in data and statistics, or statistics and data science, and she loves baseball, so she gets to be part of the U of A men's baseball preseason activities. So those connections are really important, and being able to relate to people on many different levels really does prepare you. And so, you know, this one slide that you're looking at kind of just gives you a roundabout or an overview of all the different ways while you're on campus. And as Rebecca or Dr. Gomez mentioned at the beginning of this program, we will have a new student welcome event. We'll be, you know, watch your email. We'll be sending out a save the date and then an agenda so you can engage with professors, current students, science clubs, advisors. We want to just continue that opportunity for you to really have meaningful connections early on as you get started. And then last but not least, you can progress to the next slide. Thanks, Robin. Like I said, we know you're here for a career, and academic preparation is vital, right? Knowledge, attaining knowledge is vital, but also seeing what those work environments are like, building those connections with people that can advocate for you and support and mentor you are really important. And we know in the College of Science that undergraduate research or understanding research is a professional skill. And so Colin is here to share a little bit more about our Office of Undergraduate Research.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Colin Stout. I'm the coordinator of undergraduate research and student retention for the College of Science. And I'm just going to take a few minutes of your time to talk about how you can enhance your educational experience with undergraduate research. You're all just starting your educational journey. And so I just kind of want to impart some words of wisdom upon you as you start this semester, and just give you some things to think about as you go through, you know, exploring your major and your time here. So there's a few reasons you should get involved in undergraduate research. I think the main reason is that you will gain a deeper understanding of your major and of science through these hands-on experience. You actually get the opportunity to practice research. You get to work side by side with world-class faculty, and you'll also get the opportunity to develop critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills, and other teamwork skills that are really coveted by employers. The process of and the action of completing undergraduate research really helps enhance the student experience and sets you up for success within the college and after your time here at the College of Science. There are several ways that you can get involved in undergraduate research. A lot of times there'll be research courses built right into your majors. You can get a sampling of what it's like to conduct research in a classroom setting. There's also independent study or directed research courses that you can conduct. You can volunteer in a lab. Say you really love one of your faculty members, which I'm sure you will. Once you get to know them, you will start to enjoy being in their classes and love them. And say you really like research and you want to get involved in what they're doing, you have the opportunity to ask them, hey, do you have room in your lab that I can volunteer and just be a part of this? And there's other paid options. If you want to try to make a little money in a competitive program, you could apply to some of these competitive programs like the undergraduate biology research program known as UBERP, or the undergraduate research program in chemistry. There's a lot of different options for those as well. So you have several different avenues to think about as you go through this process. Where do you start through all of this? We have a great website that the college has. It's science.arizona.edu, and I can type it in the chat so you can all access it. Or science.arizona.edu/OUR. It's the Office of Undergraduate Research. And it has a lot of great resources for you all to start your research journey. You can use that, or also just start to take stock of what you enjoy in your courses as you go through your freshman courses. Get an idea of what piqued your interest, what you really liked, and maybe what you want to expand upon further. That's going to be the best place to start. And for finding research opportunities, the main system for you to do this would be the ur.arizona.edu website. It's a fantastic database on all of the different research opportunities that students can get involved in. Go on, play around, and see what's available to you, and that'll give you a really well-rounded view. Also, Erin mentioned looking at your emails. Definitely check your emails and read through them, because your departments, your academic advisors, they will send out a ton of opportunities, and I can't even begin to stress how important it is to read through those. I know so many students who have been connected to amazing opportunities just because of an email that they were sent. And also get to know your professors. Don't be afraid to talk to them. They're nice, they're wonderful people, they're brilliant, and the more you get to know them and make an effort, you can find different opportunities within their labs. So just talk to them, have a conversation, visit their office hours. That is going to be a really a great way to find these opportunities. So as you go through this first semester, think about these things and think about starting to get involved in undergraduate research in future semesters. It'll only enhance your undergraduate experience. So thanks, everybody. Oh, and next, actually, I'm going to introduce Caroline Highland, who is a sophomore in computer science, and she's going to talk about her research in undergraduate research. Thanks again.
Hi, everybody. I'm Caroline, and I just want to give you a sense of the sort of student experience, specifically with the switch to online classes. So the first thing that I want to mention for me is how I managed online last semester. And that was mostly by staying connected to people, especially by the faculty who were teaching my classes. This is a really unique situation for everyone, and I found that faculty have been really understanding and really supportive, and they just want to help you if you reach out with concerns or things that you're not understanding. They really are there to help. Another thing that I've struggled with is retaining information that I learned online. For some reason, I just found it really different in terms of how I needed to study and prepare. So I try to do all my open note or open book assignments without my notes first as a way to sort of test myself and see what areas I need to focus on. That's been really helpful. Another thing for me is staring at a screen for a long time tends to affect my ability to focus. So I try to schedule breaks for myself and give myself some time to do other things and take a break. Specifically, I designate different spaces for different things. I find that helps me to focus and center myself. So when I'm at my desk working on school, I'm not thinking about other things. And then when I step away and go to a different part of my room or a different place on campus, that's my indication that I need to clear my head, I need to get away from this, and I need to think about something else. And another way that I do that is by getting involved on campus. So for all of you, I highly recommend joining organizations this year. Obviously, most of the clubs will be online this semester, and that is a very different experience, but it's still a great way to connect with people, make new friends, and meet people on campus. The other thing that I did to stay connected was do virtual study groups with people in my classes. On D2L, there's a class list, and it has people's email, and you can just reach out, form a little study group together over Zoom, and just get to know people in your class and find another way to engage with the material. The last thing I want to mention is I know as a freshman, I struggled a lot with homesickness, and I was really stressed about my classes. I didn't know how I was going to adjust. And U of A has great programs to help with that if you are struggling. There's a program called CAPS, which is Counseling and Psychiatric Services through Campus Health. And they're a really great program if you just need someone to talk to or some extra support. So I highly recommend reaching out.
All right.
Okay, I think that's me. Just to summarize, get off to a strong start in your classes. You can do that by being organized, making sure your assignments don't creep up on you, that you know when they are. Study smart, use retrieval. Don't just go back over your highlighted notes. Space out, and what we mean by retrieval is doing what Caroline just said. Try to come up with answers without looking at your notes. Retrieval is when you actually recall information from memory. It's the difference, say, between writing out a short answer or essay answers compared to a multiple choice exam where you're just recognizing material. Retrieve it, operate on it, think about how that material connects to other things you're learning. That's how you can be an active learner. Space out your study, don't cram the night before. Commit to getting 8 hours of sleep a night. That will keep up your immunity and you'll actually learn better and you'll remember more. Be flexible and resilient. You will probably have some challenges. Try to be positive and pick yourself up and start all over again. Remember that we have many, many resources, starting with your professors. Take advantage of all of these resources. If you're new to Arizona, make sure you wear your sunscreen, drink lots of water. For all of you, wear your mask and enjoy the amazing journey that starts now.
So I just want to quickly jump in and follow up with what's next. So as we wrap up this webinar, we want to remind you that we are going to send out an email to all participants and all students who signed up that were unable to attend, as well as students that didn't sign up and didn't attend, but we're going to send out the link to the recording so that you'll have that at your disposal. Any Q&A that we were unable to get to will be answered offline. One of the ones I kept seeing a lot of was the CAT card. From my understanding, you should go back into your Next Steps Center, and there's supposed to be some additional information that's been added since your orientation session about how to get your CAT card. So start there, and if you don't see what you're looking for, reach out to your advisors. As an advising community, we're keeping up with the questions that are coming through from students and pulling together answers and resources to be able to help you. So if you have additional questions after today's webinar, you can email science@email.arizona.edu, and myself or our advising colleagues will be able to respond to those emails. We encourage you to continue exploring the resources that are in the D2L Arizona Launchpad. Again, if you're unable to find it, great, because we have different terms. We have the fall 2020 term, which is where your courses are going to be loaded up, the courses that you're enrolled for this fall semester. But under the 2020 non-term, that's where you're going to find the D2L Arizona Launchpad. And then we're going to put together a little UA Clicks sort of test your knowledge quiz pretty soon that will include some questions, main points, salient points from this presentation today, as well as some of the information that's in the D2L Launchpad. We'll be allowing you to test your knowledge on how much you've learned and retained from that, and provide some incentives to score 100% on that quiz. And so we'll provide multiple attempts for you to get that 100%. And what we're hoping to do is within a window of time, everybody who gets a perfect score will be entered into a drawing to get some gift cards and things like that, maybe from the bookstore or some other types of prizes that we can give away. So that should be exciting. Watch for that. I will be following up with email myself, and I really am thrilled that you joined us today. I'm excited for you. I felt the energy coming through on the Q&As. You're all excited about joining us, and we're excited to have you. So have a great semester. We thank you for attending, and we wish you all the luck. If you need anything, reach out to your advisors, and we'll be here to serve you.